Zach Golden just purchased a film, and he's gonna tell you why. Zach Golden's The Golden Collection.
It was unfortunate for me because, against my own personal desires, I wasn't able to catch a showing of F1 during its theatrical release. But all throughout its run, I was hearing nothing but good things about it online. Joseph Kosinski proved he was a force to be reckoned with, having come out with the absolute banger of a blockbuster like Top Gun Maverick against all the odds, and now solidifying himself with the release of his racing movie starring Brad Pitt, Damson Idris, and Kerry Condon. F1 would be one of the many movies in my collection that I would snatch off the shelf without having actually seen it first. And my reason for such rash behavior is, at a certain point, you hear enough good about a movie that adding commentaries, behind the scenes, and other bonus material just becomes a good enough pitch for me to spend $20. You know what I mean? And I gotta say, F1 is fantastic. A gamble well spent. And I say that even after the movie ran its course and people are starting to realize F1 is just Top Gun Maverick with a race car skin over it. And I'm not going to argue with that. The similarities are close enough that many people are going to forget this movie even exists 10 years from now, while Top Gun Maverick will go down in history as one of the greatest examples of how to write and produce a sequel. But just because there are commonalities in the story, it shouldn't denounce you from enjoying F1, because it's a good movie and it's groundbreaking. There's no movie that has ever been made quite like this before, and odds are we never will again. Before I dive into why I feel this way and why this is the case, be sure to hit like and subscribe and turn on notifications, all that good stuff. One thing I didn't know till I went down the behind-the-scenes rabbit hole is all the scenes taking place at the finale F1 race at the end of the movie, that's an actual F1 race. It's the real crowds, the real cars, the real racers, and the real runtime for a typical F1 race. So the production, in collaboration with Formula One Racing, they built a run-and-gun film crew, and they literally filmed the movie live as the race was going. And they're all doing it in one take, two tops. And because this was a legit race going on, there couldn't be any mistakes or reshoots. It was like theater on wheels, literally. Maybe you knew all this during their press tour, but I'm just now learning it for the first time, and I find it so fascinating. They achieved most of their actual car racing sequences by overlaying the movie's signature race car design over the real racing footage, and even putting Brad Pitt and Damson Idris in a racing car themselves to drive around in an enclosed track. It's a perfect marriage between practical and digital effects matched with a tight script, an absolutely bopping soundtrack by Hans Zimmer, and obviously great performances from Brad, Kerry, and Damson. So, does it bother me that F1 and Top Gun Maverick both involve an older protagonist who sees himself in a younger protege who hates his guts, and only a hot 40-year-old can inspire them to see their similarities and work together? No, it doesn't bother me, because at the end of the day, both movies are great. I do think Joseph Kosinski is at risk of looking like a one-trick pony, but if we all collectively decided that a film wasn't good because the story was similar to another, we would have stopped making films 80 years ago. The bottom line is the 20s has not been a good decade for films, but there certainly have been some redeeming numbers, including F1.